This is the Clara Luper radio show. And for 168 seconds, we paused. We paused in memory of those that gave their lives on April 19th, 1995. Memories are keen in all of our minds. And I know our prayer is that the healing process will continue. And never again will a city of people have to suffer as we have suffered. The Clara Luper radio show. This morning is a show that I want you to remember. Want you to remember this show for a lot of reasons, and the main reason is that we recognize we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we do know who holds tomorrow. Last week was an exciting week for me. I was honored to be beyond my imagination at the Paradise Baptist Church, where I was greeted with a bouquet of white roses. I was also given a beautiful corsage. I also stood with women that had made great contributions not only to this community but to their church, and women that demonstrated true love as they honored past chairpersons of Women's Day. And I would like to thank the women and the pastor, Reverend Roseborough, for the hospitality that was shown toward me. I really enjoyed being with you. And I want to thank all of my friends. And I have some friends that are quite interesting. They always say, Clara, that was a good speech. But what is a friend for? I don't know, but I do have some very good friends, and I would like to thank all of my friends for their support. Then on last Sunday evening, I had the opportunity to listen to some young people, brilliant young people from Northeast High School, members of the Afro-American Cultural Society. These young people went back through history and they recited poems. Oh, what wonderful voices. And I would like to salute Mrs. Nancy Lynn Davis and those fine students from Northeast High School. Well, the public at large is invited to the Holy Temple to hear the Holy Temple's Sanctuary Choir. It's the annual spring musical Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Holy Temple Baptist Church. Reverend R.M. LaFall is the pastor, and the church is located at 1540 Northeast 50th Street. Friends, Romans and countrymen, I once learned. One writer said, and he was Shakespeare, I'm not here to, what did he say? He said, I'm not here to do something but to honor. And today we would like to honor all of you because you are survivors. You have proven love beyond any contradictions. You are lovable, and I would like to thank you. We have a serious problem, and I'm calling upon you right now to help with the problem. Last week, I received a shock because someone came to Freedom Center and told us that they needed help because the United States Post Office was planning to close Martin Luther King's Jr. Branch Post Office located at 1930 Northeast 24th Street. I would like to repeat it so people will understand why we jumped with the ball. Because a complaint was filed with us that Martin Luther King Jr. Branch Post Office located at 1930 Northeast 24th Street was in the process of being closed. Now, what we did immediately was to contact the United States Post Office located downtown. We talked to Mr. Jeff Collison, the assistant postmaster, and he told us that it was true they were considering it. It had not been put in cement. I wanted to talk to a lady, Mrs. Susan Plankett, I think, who is the postmistress general, but she was out of town. And I told Mr. Jeff Callison that I was going to the people on the northeast and northwest and southeast and southwest side of Oklahoma City that used that post office to see what they thought. And the people were angry. I immediately called Roosevelt Milton, the state president of the city president, the president of the senior branch of NACP, and he said we are going to work together on that. And we started working. There will be a meeting at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Now, we were scheduled to meet on Wednesday, but the postmistress could not be there. The meeting is scheduled at 9 a.m. on next Thursday at Freedom Center, 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue. At that time, we want to submit thousands of names of people that want to keep that post office. I just left Mr. Robert Gates' barbershop, and I have in my hand 300 people that have signed that in one day. 300 people. Mr. Gates, I know you have some more petitions ready, and I know you are ready to go. We would also let you know that Bruce Williams has worked hard and is still working. Reverend Samuel Craig is working. Reverend Drinkwater, Geraldine Downing, and others. But now we need your help. Now, this is a serious thing. It's so serious until you're going to have to act. Currently, the United States Postal Service is planning to close the Martin Luther King Jr. branch post office at 1930 Northeast 24th Street in Oklahoma City and move it to a site on Northeast 8th Street. Now, the Martin Luther King Jr. post office has served the community for many years at its present location. It is in the midst of a neighborhood that is both residential and commercial. Many private homes and apartments are located nearby. The commercial aspect of the community is growing. Within blocks of the Martin Luther King Jr. branch post office is a supermarket, a new Eckerd's drugstore, a new KFC restaurant, and a large number of smaller individually owned businesses. In addition, there's Ralph Ellison's Library, a branch of the Oklahoma County Metropolitan Library System. The Martin Luther King Jr. Post Office is located in an area where the Black History Monument is located. To move this facility would be a waste of taxpayers' dollars and an inconvenience to thousands, and it would be an insult. It would be an insult to all of us. I want you to know that we need you now. We need this community to act now. We have petitions in our hands. We need these petitions signed. And those of you that's under the sound of my voice, we want you to sign a petition. If you don't have a petition, just write, my name is blank and my address, and I want to see that post office remain there. Now, we want you to come up there and hear the story on Thursday morning at exactly 9 a.m. And we will hear from you today. Yes, we will hear from you today. As we think about the bombing, as we think about the loss of our leader, Jimmy Stewart, we must go to where our forefathers went. We must turn to the great God of the universe. Give me something, Calvin, to warm my soul. Amazing grace. How sweet it sounds. Yes, it was grace. There's a question now. Who will speak for us now? In this state, we heard the voice of a Roscoe Dungy crying out for freedom. Roscoe Dungy sleeps now in yonder cemetery. Who will speak for us now? We heard A. Willie James as he walked the streets of this city, crying out for NACP memberships and support. But A. Willie James is dead. And who will speak for us now? Fred C. Moon, Dr. Moon, he spoke for us. But Dr. Moon is dead now. Theodosia Crawford hated segregation with a passion. But Theodosia Crawford now sleeps in yonder soil. Thurgood Marshall spoke for us. He spoke against the segregation of schools, but Thurgood Marshall is dead now. And who will speak for us now? It was last Sunday that a strong voice was silent by that great mystery that's known as death. That voice was the voice of Jimmy Stewart, who for years had cried out for freedom, who fought against segregation with all of his strength, with his power, with his efforts. But last Sunday, Jimmy Stewart's voice was silent by that great arm of death. It came as a shock, and it should not have been. Many of us had watched Jimmy as he wrestled and fought for his own health. It shouldn't have come to us as a shock to us, but it did, because Jimmy Stewart's voice was a voice. I thought of it as a voice crying in the wilderness, a wilderness of hatred, a wilderness of racial discrimination and injustices. His was a voice, but now his voice has been silenced by that great hand of death. Jimmy Stewart with a keen mind and a winning personality. Jimmy Stewart, known as a great thinker, and could tell spellbinding stories of his fight for freedom. He was out in front. He brought a lively intellect and good humor to us. He fought, but his voice was silent, and he belongs truly to the ages. And today we are going to remember yesterday, because on yesterday, crowds came, or should we remember day before yesterday, when the Oklahoma Natural Gas Company gave a memorial at the Jimmy Stewart's building on Northeast 4th Street in memory of Jimmy Stewart. Could we remember the many awards, and there were hundreds of awards that he had won? Yes, we remember. A city remembered. They remembered many personal moments in the life of Jimmy Stewart. Thoughts by his friends, his co-workers, yes, and by his own son, Jimmy Stewart Jr. Yes, Jimmy Stewart Sr. is dead, and his voice is silent. But let's listen to the words of a man that knew him, a man that worked with him, a man whose name we want you to know. We want you to remember, and we want you to cherish. His name is Charles C. Hopper, the Senior Vice President of Oklahoma Natural Gas, now speaks in memory of Jimmy.
Jimmy Stewart was my friend. Of course, the ranks of Jimmy's friends are almost boundless. All you have to do is to look across this sanctuary today. But I think he gave to each of us some special portion of his being that will stay with us and continue to enrich our lives. To his cause and to his community, he gave as few have given. Still, he had enough within his soul to share with those of us who were so fortunate to know him. Let me tell you what I've learned from Jimmy. Dignity. It didn't matter that others sometimes acted in disgraceful ways. Jimmy knew his worth as a human being and wasn't about to diminish himself by responding in kind. Perseverance. Lesser men might have quit in the face of prevailing bigotry of the day. Jimmy just got stronger and pressed on. Trust. Jimmy had a cool head. He had the ability to reach across and bring people together, even when circumstances threatened to pull them apart. Just as I'm proud that Jimmy was my friend, I'm proud that he was a co-worker. Jimmy was persuaded to come to work at ONG in 1937. He took a cut in pay to do it. He said at the time he believed there were more considerations other than wages that might make the decision pay off. It did for him, and it did for us. Jimmy came to mean so much to this company in ways you could never explain in a job description. He was a manager, a leader, peacemaker, and a mainstay of our social conscience. His counsel was sought out, valued, and acted upon. Jimmy once wrote, "Neither wealth nor power mean much without a knowledge that you can go home at night and truly believe that you have done harm to no man, nor is any man your enemy. He is rich who gives himself, loves his neighbor, and honors God Almighty." Jimmy Stewart was a very rich man and a friend.
The Senior Vice President of the Oklahoma Natural Gas, and those that attended the services yesterday will always remember the words of Reverend Melvin E. Truett, Sr. Words relating what Jimmy had done, relating personal experience, backing it up with the words of our Savior. Yes, Jimmy Stewart sleeps now. And the question that we all must remember, who will speak for us now? If you are against the closing of the post office, you can speak for us now. In a few minutes, I will give you the opportunity to call us and tell us what you will do. Now, this program has been made possible today by Gates Barber Shop, your barber. A barber that's not only concerned about you, but I told you a few minutes ago that we picked up 300 signatures from his shop. And other barbers in town, if you want petitions, or you can just take a plain sheet of paper and write on it, "We are against closing the post office," and join us in this fight. In the meantime, let's go and remember Mr. Gates, and you can pick up a petition there. The program is being made possible by Hometown, 2001 Northeast 23rd Street, open 24 hours for your convenience. Dr. A.L. Dial, a pioneer fighter, man that all continues to fight for liberty, justice, and equality, located at 934 Northeast 8th Street in Oklahoma City, would like to join us today. Dr. A.L. Dial, and if you need your eyes adjusted, or you need somebody that can tell you what's wrong with your eyes, call 2350536 in order that you can get an appointment. Please call 2350536. Johnson Sardinas, located at 1643 Northeast to 15th Street, your preschool and nursery. They're ready to serve you. We have 3 generations of young people in that nursery. Yes, my children, they will tell you, went to Johnson Sardinas, where they learned songs and prayers, and they learned to play real games. 424-4656 or 427-5274. 2611 North Martin Luther King Avenue or 1643 Northeast of 50th Street. Mrs. Gloria Matthews say she joins us today. Mrs. Gloria Matthews at 1643 Northeast 50th Street. Mr. Nathaniel Cobb, who will change those still pictures into VCR productions. You may call him at 424-1591. So you need some carpet. Discount Carpet and Furniture Company, 501 Northwest 23rd Street. 23rd Street. You don't have to call. Just go on down there and get your carpet. You can get all kind of furniture. Get your get your mattresses, and he's having a mattress sale at 501 Northwest 23rd Street. We cannot talk about sponsors unless we talk about Gideon 300 Store. Gideon 300 Store. Owners that are willing to get out in this community and work. I have never seen people so dedicated as those people. And I want you to go to 6006 Southwestern, go to Gideon's store and get all of your African supplies. Calvin, what's going on?
Oh, Mom, it's a fantastic day. It's a sad day, but it's also a happy day in the fact that we are here and we are able to be able to do some positive things in our community. And I just want to compliment you on a beautiful show. And I know it's going to be a long show, and it's going to be a great show. But this is a special Saturday, a special April 19th, 1997 for all of us. In light of the post office closing and Jimmy Stewart's services and the other events that are happening here in the community, this is indeed a very difficult show for you, I know. But I know that you have the strength and the perseverance to be able to come up with a great show. But then, in order to help you some, we got a young man on the line that's anxious to tell us about what's happening in the sports world here in Oklahoma City and Oklahoma. So we're going to sit back. We're going to relax. We invite you to remember this number, 672-1220. We appreciate your comments. Then in a very few minutes, we'll be taking some calls on the post office closing here in Oklahoma City. But right now, we have none other than our dear friend Brian from Star Spencer High School. Brian, how are you doing this beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Fantastic, brother.
Okay. Well, I want to apologize for missing the last two Saturdays because I had a track meet and I had to take my ACTs. And now, this is your Saturday morning sports page. In golf, Tiger Woods won the green jacket at the Masters tournament. And he also shattered many records with his victory, such as winning by a 12-point margin and scoring the lowest score ever, 18 points, and being the youngest person ever to win the Masters tournament at age 21. And in the NBA, Chicago got their 69th victory with a 117-100 win over Toronto. The Pacers knocked off the Knicks 110-107 in overtime. Dale Davis scored 23 points and he grabbed 18 rebounds. Orlando clinched the seventh playoff spot with a 100-91 victory over the Pistons, and the Magic held Grant Hill to 12 points. The Bullets defeated the 76ers 131-110, despite 40 points from Allen Iverson, and that was the fifth straight time that Allen Iverson scored at least 40 points. And the Los Angeles Clippers clinched their first playoff berth with a 99-93 point victory over Dallas. In the CBA, the Oklahoma City Cavs have made it to their first championship series in franchise history, and the Cavs beat the Florida Beach Dogs on their own court and tied the best-of-7 championship series 1-1. In Major League Baseball, Oakland beat Toronto 4-5. Minnesota beat Anaheim 4-3. Texas beat Kansas City 5-1, and New York lost to Milwaukee 4-5. In high school baseball, Edmond Memorial whipped Choctaw 7-0. Edmond North blew out Hennessy 15-4. Douglas beat Heritage Hall 3-1. Choctaw shut out Dale City 5-0, and Putnam North shut out Northwest Classic 8-0. And once again, this is Brandon Bryant bringing you your Saturday morning sports page on the Clara Luper Radio Show. Yo.
Thank you so much. Discount Carpet has full quality mattresses. You can get them from $39.95 on up. They specialize in commercial jobs for churches, and they have done churches all over Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. They will give a 10% discount to senior citizens, and you would be surprised. They will give you regular $30 carpet at $19.95, and that includes labor. Yes, Discount Carpet, 501 Northwest 23rd Street. Gideon's 300 store, where you can get that real African food, those real African clothes. Calvin, you know, when you think of the people, I was looking back through a sheet that was signed a long time ago, and there are only a few of us left that's still on the battlefield. I thought about Ira Holmes and Willard Moore It is stamps. W.K. Jackson, Clara Luper, that was at that particular meeting with Jimmy Stewart, but Jimmy's gone now. And I'm expecting his nephew to call in at 672-1220. I want you to speak now because we no longer have a Jimmy Stewart that can speak for us. And you can speak for us this morning by expressing your opinion on the closing of the post office. Are we standing alone? Are you in favor of the post office closing? Whose side are you on? That's what I want to know. And you know, when you go out to play, Calvin, in this game that's called life, you want to know whose side you're on. And you want to know who's on your side. And God knows we want to be right. Is it right to take away from the east side of Oklahoma City, from Martin Luther King, the thing that they were so proud of? Is it right? That's the issue. Now, I don't know what kind of excuse they are going to give us, and I want all of you that can to be at this meeting Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Now, where will this meeting be, Mom?
At Freedom Center, 2609 North of Martin Luther King Avenue, and it's going to be at Freedom Center because they reported it to us at Freedom Center, and we immediately acted.
You know, the interesting thing about that, too, is the speed and the surprise factor that the post office department used in letting the people know.
They were not letting us know. People didn't know about it. It leaked out.
How did it leak out?
I'm not going to tell you how it leaked out,
but
but I'm going to tell you that we found it, and I got it directly from the people downtown that they were planning to do it. They were planning to do it just like they planned to free the slaves in 1776. They planned to free the slaves in 1820. They planned to free the slaves, but it took a civil war, and a war in which the North was losing before Abraham Lincoln stood and said, I'm going to free the slaves in the states that have pulled out of the Union. And if I could save this Union without freeing any slaves, I would. Now, we want to know. We know that there are a lot of people with slave mentality. They believe everything some people tell them. Well, anyway, I would like to make my position clear. I am against closing Martin Luther King moving down on Northeast 8th Street. They told me the windows would be larger. Aren't those windows large enough? Or couldn't they make the windows larger?
What do you mean, the service windows that they...
I don't know what they meant, but we will find out at this meeting. Now, what is wrong? We want to hear from you. 672-1220. Are we going to sit up? We have watched one section of Oklahoma City growing. We have watched the techniques and the political maneuvers in building up certain sections. Now we are going to have to come together. We don't have a lot of money. In fact, we don't have the businesses as other people. But I believe we have the people, Calvin. 672-1220.
I noticed that post office there at 23rd Martin Luther King affects thousands of people. You know, just here on this side of town, Northeast. I don't know what else goes through there, but I know everyone can come by and drop their mail off. Now, as far as the delivery goes, or the speed of delivery, will that be increased? Will we have a better way of receiving our mail? Well, you don't know.
I don't know,
Okay.
but I will know.
Well, we've
after
got to
Thursday.
find out
Calvin,
some
they
type
have
of way.
moved mailboxes. There used to be mailboxes out in Edwards Addition. They have moved the mailbox. See, I have to give it to this white man and his plan. He's smart. He eases up on you. He moves a mailbox here and a mailbox there. Then all it was, bam. I want to know. Jimmy Stewart's voice has been silenced by death. Who will speak for us now? You can speak by saying to me, Clara Luper, I want a petition. I want a petition which says that we want to keep Martin Luther King Jr.'s branch post office, and I need, when we go in this meeting on Thursday morning, I want to have at least 3,000 signatures. And 3,000. And I already have 300 here. Okay, hello?
Hello, Miss Luper.
Yes.
This is Shara, and I just want to say this is just another slap to tell you that you're not a citizen. Citizens aren't treated as we are treated. Black people come up with this, I'm a second-class citizen. There's no such thing. You are a citizen or you're not. And this is what I say. They don't treat us like citizens, so we must regard what it is that they are doing to us.
Okay, now, are you going to take a petition?
Yes.
Okay, you can pick up one at the Gates Barbershop today because I need 3,000 signatures by Thursday morning.
Okay.
Thank you, doctor, for calling me, and
Not
I'm
at all.
glad to know that you're on my team. I want to know where you stand. We want to know where you stand, and that's the main issue now. No longer do we have a Roscoe Dungy to speak for us. We no longer have an A. Willie James, a Theodosia Crawford. We no longer have a Jimmy Stewart, but we want to know where you stand. Who do we have that's on our team? We want to know. Either you're for me or you are against me. Fifth Street Baptist Church will be celebrating its 68th anniversary tomorrow. In fact, they started this week. It's been a fabulous week. They started with a prayer service where a large number, I think over 70 people prayed for the progress not only of Fifth Street, but this city, this community, this station, and this nation. And I will be telling you about the more about Fifth Street in a few minutes. Hello?
Good morning, Mrs. Luper. This is Mrs. Hunt here. How are you doing today? I'm listening to your radio program.
Well, you know, I'm
And
angry about that post office deal because that's where I see so many of my friends. It's just like a family place now.
but I didn't know about it until I heard you talking about it this morning on the radio.
We're
And I
good.
imagine there's a lot of us that do not know about that. And then did you say they talk about moving it on A Street? A Street is such a busy street you can't hardly
No,
get in.
they're going to put it back. You know, back at Dr. Dow's office where they have the packages. They're going to put it
Oh,
back there.
back
And
on
see,
an
they
off
would.
street. And then okay, but now why move it back there? Because it is, it's kind of inconvenient to getting over and down and back into there. And we have a post office, a wonderful post office, and it serves serving the community because those people who can't ride and do not have rides, they can always pick up somebody and go right over there and come right back. And to move something of this magnitude out of off of the street where we work so hard to change the name and and we got a beautiful facility there. And I'm wondering why. And you said larger windows. You don't need a great big window to buy a stamp or mail a package. So I wonder if there must be something else other than larger windows. And we're not putting big windows in buildings anyway. You can pass up and down the street and find a whole lot of new buildings that they're putting up. They don't have any windows in there at all because they don't want all this break-in. So I'm wondering, maybe they didn't think about that. Maybe they thought
Well,
when
they
they
want to
said,
put us in the back. You know, we'll be back now. Just remember, we'll be back because they would like to put Martin Luther King Jr. and the people that believe in freedom for all back. But how do you feel? I know you're
and,
going to get some petitions.
well, that's right. I'm going to go up and pick me up one today so I can start in my neighborhood because I'm sure that people do not know. We're going to have to really start knocking on doors and letting the people know. I don't know why they would want to move it. And and I know I have the paper every day. I try to read the paper every
You haven't
morning.
seen it in the paper,
I have not seen
but
it,
they
but
put it in the paper when they were raising the price of stamps.
that's right. And it's such a convenient facility, and we have parking. And then, do you know that is kind of a little dead end street down over there?
Well, that's where they want to put us
But
somewhere.
that is
It's a
dead end
dead
street
end.
because when you go over there, have you been over there at that building behind Dr. Dow's?
Yeah, you have to go over there and collect packages now when
That's
you're at
right,
home.
but that's what I'm saying. And then it's kind of a dead end street, and it's difficulty to be getting in and getting out down there, because as I can remember, it's just a one-way in too, because it goes down to a dead end street, and you have to turn around and come all the way back up. So I'm just wondering if they have really looked at the feasibility
And,
of the.
and there's no bus line near 8th Street either where people can get off a bus and go in.
Oh
And
no,
it's one.
that's right. And then you need to me,
Okay.
you need to have post office
It's,
where it be accessible to the people.
well,
Where
okay,
people
we
can,
got your stand. Now, we just received a call out here because somebody thinks that we're having Miss Black Oklahoma in Oklahoma City. Let it make that position clear. Now, we went to court with these people, we told, and they were advised not to use Miss Black Oklahoma, to use Miss Black something else in Oklahoma, but they continue to do it. We aren't disturbed about that.
no, we're not disturbed, but I want the people to know that the lady that's having that Miss Black Oklahoma, we do not know about it. I heard about it, and I'm
And we
trying
don't
to.
take 30 and 40-year-old women and
That's
all that
right,
kind of stuff.
because we're having a MISS and not an MRS and everybody. Because to me, this pageant, black pageant that we have, is a distinction, something to develop young people and trying to send them on to a good career. And we have had hundreds of them that's in wonderful, wonderful careers.
And that,
And this lady started this program, and she uses Miss Black so that people will think that it is our Miss Black Oklahoma, the one that we've been having for the past 28 years. But this is just one that started up, and I think she's had it for about 1 or 2 years. And the court has told her that she could not use Miss Black Oklahoma.
she had to put something before that, but see, she's smart enough not to do it. And I want the people in Oklahoma to know that we put on ours Clara Luper Presents, where you cannot be confused.
That's
Now,
right.
our pageant will be held where,
Our
lady?
pageant this year is going to be held in Lawton, Oklahoma. And the entire city down there in Lawton, including Fort Sill, is so interested that we're bringing our Miss Black Oklahoma to Lawton, that they are really, really putting forth a number of efforts to help us to present the program and bring it down there.
And it
And
would
they're
be
interested because they have a Miss Black Cameron
University
there.
and a Miss Black Comanche County.
and right in Lawton. Now, this Miss Black that she's having, usually what she tried to do, I know one year what she did, she took our winner of our Miss Black and played her program up around this young lady.
Okay, well,
And so
well, anyway,
I
that's
want
all right.
people
That
to know
can't hurt
that
us.
they tell us there's always somebody else out there trying to do. Now, she could have named it anything. She didn't have to name it Miss Black.
Well, anyway, let them fight Clara Luper and Miss Black, but the more they fight, the stronger we get, because we were down in Lawton this past week, and we will be telling you more about that next week. But this week, we got to get on with some people with petitions. We want them at every church, and if you belong to a church and you don't pick up a petition, you can always say, get a sheet of paper and put on, and we want to keep Martin Luther King Jr.
And I'd like to, but I want the public out there to know, the radio audience to know, when she come and say, this is Miss Black, Oklahoma, you say, is this the one that is sponsored by Clara Luper, where the girls come from all over the city? Young girls come
Okay,
participate in
all...
the Black Miss Black
Okay.
Oklahoma pageant.
Okay, lady. Thank you so very kindly. And you will have one at your church. And where's your church located?
Michael,
People, and that's what we need. Once upon a time, we had a Martin Luther King that spoke for us, but Martin Luther King is dead. John F. Kennedy became the first president to say that segregation was wrong, but John F. Kennedy is dead. And George Young has made his position clear today. He said he will speak for us. Who will speak for us? Are we going to sit on our constitutions and let them move Martin Luther King post office off from our area and put it somewhere else where it's a dead end, where people cannot see and glimpse the beauty, the dignity of Martin Luther King? That post office is a symbol. And I call upon you postal workers, you firefighters, you police officers, all of you. You can't talk about what I would have done if I had been there. And I have a lot of people come up and say, and I had that to happen to be at Jimmy's funeral. Oh, I supported Jimmy Stewart. I said, but where were you when Jimmy was speaking out there by himself? Leslie Brown spoke for us. He walked for us. He talked for us. But Leslie Brown is dead now. But he was remembered by the young people at Northeast High School as they presented his lovely wife a plaque in his memory. And his lovely granddaughter spoke about her grandfather. But Leslie Brown is dead now. Who will speak for us? Will you speak for us? Hello?
Good morning,
Good morning.
Miss Luper. I'm Imogene Lindsay,
Yes.
and I'm just now hearing about the post office trying to be closed too. We need the post office. I will be up to get a petition and work with my church tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Lindsay. I am happy that you see, they are trying to be slick. They are trying to
Honey,
slip something
always.
in on.
don't you know it? When you know that something is happening, it's been happening 5 years before you even wake up to the idea of it. Just Sneaky Peeks is the name. But I'll be up there and get a petition and work with this neighborhood, in the neighborhood, and with my church tomorrow.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Lindsay. We have somebody else that will speak for us. Who will speak for us now? How many of you are with us? And on a team, so many times you turn around and you look out in the audience and you say, who's with us? Are you fighting against us? Are you with those that would move the post office? I just can't understand it. Now, I would like to tell all of you people that's planning to move the post office that we aren't afraid to fight for our rights. We went to Korea. We were in France. We went to Vietnam. Yes, we went. We fought. And you're going to move our post office. Why don't you just come over here and say, well, I didn't want that post office over. It's too close to the Black History Monument. It's too close to black business. We just want to move that post office. And I hope they come over here with some statistics. And I want you to know that we have our statistics ready, too. We have our statistics ready. And our statistics are very simple. It says we want the post office to remain at 1930 Northeast 24th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. You know, if there's any time in the history of this country that freedom-loving people should stick together, it is now. It can't be no big I and it can't be a little you. We must stick together as brothers. Now, I repeat, Thurgood Marshall is dead. He cannot speak for us now. W.B. Du Bois spoke for us. He cried out for us. Lyndon Johnson spoke for us. Who will speak for us now? Jimmy Stewart is dead. Jimmy can no longer speak for us because if Jimmy was alive today, he would cry out, as he did for years, for the northeastern side of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Currently, I would like to repeat, the United States Postal Service is planning, now it's in the planning stage, to close the Martin Luther King Jr. branch post office. I call upon the postal workers, when they come in and meet with us on Thursday at 10 a.m., bring a plan showing us how you can improve the Martin Luther King Jr. branch post office. May I repeat, how you can improve the post office. Yes, you kept Highway 66. You kept everything else, but I want to know how you're going to improve the post office. How you're going to improve the post office. Are you with me or are you not? Calvin, people just dying for your song. They want to hear your song and your harp. They want to know if I paid for your harp lessons. I would like for the world to know I did not pay for your harp lessons. We were down in Hoffman. We made sound with corn cobs. We are very smart people. I had a friend that went down to Hoffman, and boy, she really saluted me. She said, Clara, I see where you came from. And I would like to repeat, I've come a long ways, a long ways. And if you don't believe it, you go to Hoffman and see it, and I guarantee you, you will see nothing. Clara Luper reporting for Allstate Insurance Company in Maryland. Hildred, your agent, all of them are there waiting for you. Now, Calvin is coming in, and Calvin made me forget my thought. Allstate Insurance Company is located at 730 Britton Road. The telephone number 8430811 in Maryland. And April want to be your insurance agent. Calvin, Shelley is no longer in that office with you.
No, Shelley's no longer there. She's moving on up, as they say. She's moved on up, and we're so proud of the fact that we had an opportunity to have Shelley there in the office and to give her some basic training, as we like to call it, with Allstate. But she's moving on up, and we will be letting you know. Shelley will be letting you know what
I know
all
she's
she's
moved
doing.
to that main office out on Northwest Highway.
That's what
and
they promised.
Shelley is a guest speaker tonight at a big banquet at a university in Ohio. She's in the air now. She left Oklahoma City this morning about 6 o'clock.
Well, Mom, you know, there's a person on the air that wants to comment, I'm certain, about the post office.
Okay,
And
I
we
want
have
to
a
hear
time
that.
for that, so
Yes,
it's
I
none
want to
other
hear
than
that
a
come in.
young man named Crizzo. How are you doing this morning, Mr. Meadows?
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Fantastic.
How do you feel about it, Chris?
Well, I'm glad that you have stepped in the forefront to be able to let us know about the things that are going on. and I just want to just talk about what I want to do. I just want to pick up a couple petitions, and I want to make sure I've got a couple of groups and our church also, and we want to just get those back to you. I just want to speak of some of the action that I want to do to try to help.
Okay, tell me.
And I want to make sure we get those petitions signed and get them back to you, and anything else we can do to help you with that, that's exactly what we want to do, Miss Luper.
Okay, I know you're not going to leave me out on a limb.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, well,
I'll be up there to either Gates Barbershop or wherever to pick up a few petitions to help you out on that in our community.
Okay, then, but thank you, Chriso.
Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for me to present to my son, Calvin Brady Luper, who says that he can't sing, and he's going to sing happy birthday to who today, Calvin?
Mom, I have a belated birthday I want to sing and wish to a good friend of mine, Arnitha Johnson. Arnitha Washington, happy birthday, belated Arnitha. I'm not going to call the numbers, but we know it's a happy birthday. And I also like to remind all of you that I do need, Dean doesn't look like he's going to come back and be participating with me and working with us, and he hadn't sent in his resignation, but I do have an opening on the We Can't Singers team, and we need, if you can't sing and you would like to be a part of our birthday singing troupe, we invite you to, give me a call at Allstate Insurance, 843-0811, or at 424-3949, and let me know, and we'll have an audition. But you have to be able not to sing, but you have to be able to wish people a serious happy birthday. But now, from the heart, comes this special going out to you, Arnitha. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Anita. Happy birthday, dear Anita. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Calvin. We would like to know, according to the judges, we do have a winner in the poetry contest. John Huckabee is the winner of the poetry contest.
That was the poetry contest at the Soul Bazaar in 1997.
Yeah, there were about 150 entries, and the judges had really wrestled with us. Now for the essay contest. Now this is very hard, and it's a very difficult thing that has happened, and we have 3 ties, so we're going to have to go back and take these back to the judges because we can only have one winner.
So we have a winner in the poetry, John Huckabee.
Yes.
Congratulations, John, and you will be receiving a certificate and a prize. And what school was John? What does it say?
It doesn't say on the judges sheet,
okay.
And that's really good. But we know that U.S. Grant will get a trophy for the largest number of participants. And Rogers will get the trophy for the largest number of participants in the middle school. Thank you. We had over 300 participating in that contest, and we'll be telling you more about that. In the meantime, I need your help. Help me. I have petitions, and we want you to sign these petitions. And if you don't get a petition, you can get a sheet of paper, and on that paper write, I want to keep the Martin Luther King post office in its present location. Now, I'm going to take some more petitions by Mr. Gates, and I want you to come up there and sign. We already have 300 in our hands, and Letty and Miss Lindsay and others told you, and when they tell you what they are going to do, they are going to do it. I call upon you in this community not to wait until somebody dies and talk about what you're doing and what they are doing, but I want you to know that Thurgood Marshall is dead. I want you to know that Jimmy Stewart is dead and can no longer walk these streets and beg black people and white people to live together, and the responsibility is on all of us. And I want to pledge that during the closing days of my life, I shall do my best, and you cannot say Clara didn't try. I've told you they are planning to close the post office, and I'm angry about it because I don't think it's fair. But then as I look at the clock on the wall, I know I'm going to have to say goodbye because in the next 2 hours I'll be headed to Phoenix, Arizona. And my church will be celebrating their 68th anniversary, and I ask you to be there tomorrow morning. Reverend Rolfe is going to speak, and tomorrow at 3:30. And tomorrow at 3:30, be sure and be at the Fifth Street Baptist Church because Reverend Chu from Texas is going to speak, and I want you to be there. This is Clara Luper saying that remember April 19th, and I want you to remember it, and as you remember it, make sure that you would thank God that he's given us an opportunity to remember. And Calvin, let us report to Mr. Mouton is dead. Used to be assistant principal at John Marshall, and also your friend, Mr.
Lawrence
Bruner.
Bruner, we got word
We
on
just
that
got
today.
that word, and this is Clara Luper saying, whatever you do, come on and get some of these petitions. Stop talking. Don't be a talking Tom. Be a petitioning signing citizen. Clara Luper saying, bye-bye. I do love you.
This is AM 1220, KTLV, Midwest City, Oklahoma City.